Hey, welcome everybody. My name is Stephen Miller. So glad to have you all here today. We are here at this Connect community call, and we're here today to talk about Revo. And I'm really excited about that. Before we jump into Revo, many of you may not know exactly what Connect is. If this is your first time here at Connect, I want to give you a huge welcome. Thanks for being here with us. If you've been here before, welcome back. You know the drill. We're going to go in, again, like I said, and talk just for a few minutes about what Connect is first, and then we're going to dive into what Revo is, how they're revolutionizing the rideshare space, and what all that has to do and what that means. But I'll tell you, a couple housekeeping items. You're going to see, I've got my phone here, and I am going to lift up my phone every so often. We're going to be getting some questions from you. I've got our team here in the background and other places that are going to be feeding those questions to me through a channel. So if I look at my phone, I'm not just checking my texts. I'm doing that for sake of answering some of your questions, just so you know that. Again, Connect, right? What is Connect? Connect is all about connecting people to amazing new technology. Before I dive into this new technology, though, I want to make sure that you understand a few things that are really important, because we want these projects here on the Connect platform and the Connect marketplace to be projects that last the test of time, right? We're not interested in pump and dumps. We're not interested in a flash in the pan kind of project. We want legacy type of projects that will last forever, at least through our generation and our future generations as well. And so really important here, you can see on the screen behind me, we've got our disclaimers. Now, these are really important. A lot of people will just kind of fluff through this stuff. I want you to read this. Take a screenshot, whatever you want to do. Make sure you understand this. But a couple things I'm going to voice. Number one, we make no claims as to the value of any digital rewards. That's very important. These are community-run, decentralized blockchain projects. And because of that, any value in any token is only going to be determined by the market, by you and I, by people that are actually in there using it, finding utility, enhancing that utility. That's what drives those things. As companies that are involved or things like that, they cannot drive that, because again, these are fully decentralized projects. Really important to understand. And then number two, we are going to be talking about some things that are forward-looking. So we'll be using some forward-looking statements. So just be aware of that. And we'll try to point those out as we kind of talk about some of that stuff. But I think that that's really important for you to understand. That said, what is Connect? Well, Connect is an ideal. Connect is a community. Connect are individuals that are interested in this next wave of technological revolution. And I didn't say that word on purpose. We will talk about revolution here in a minute. But this technological change, adopting of this new technology that brings about greater things for all of us, that decentralizes this typically centralized command and reward, right? Typically, in most companies, all of the rewards are centralized. All of the command or the movement of what's going on in that particular project is centralized. In blockchain world, it's all decentralized. We all get to participate. If you're a node owner, which we'll talk about later, you get to actually be an owner in that particular decentralized project. All of the projects that we're going to be talking about here in Connect are run by the community. That's head up by a DGF, or Decentralized Governance Framework. And those things are really important to understand, because almost everything I've ever seen in this whole space, even in the blockchain space, has still been centralized. We are moving really into this purpose-driven, decentralized world where you and I, anybody around the world, can own a piece of that by owning and operating a node. And Connect brings these amazing projects to the forefront, driving adoption, helping to get the word out on what's going on. And so if you're here, again, if this is your first time here, a huge welcome to you. Thanks for being here with us. Today in particular, we're going to talk about Revo. If you've ever gone on a ride with like a Lyft or an Uber, and you've kind of if you've ever just taken advantage of that new technology that brought to pass the ability for people like you and I to contribute our assets, right, to earn a little bit more, right? They've kind of started into that decentralized world a little bit, but the revenue, most of it still goes back to your Lyfts and your Uber companies, right? Revo was doing something different to truly revolutionize that whole world and that whole space. I've got with me today Paul Mikel. And Paul, thanks for being here, first of all. Thanks for being with us.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, Paul, just before I'm going to turn the reins over here to you in just a second. But I want to help you all in the Connect community understand who Paul Mikel is, why he's here a little bit. Paul has had a ton of experience in business. He started his kind of world in business in the gold industry. As a matter of fact, getting to the point where with his company, they were buying about $5 million worth of gold a week, which is awesome. And in that whole process, he realized that the delivery system for gold was kind of broken. He then got into the delivery world and decided to revolutionize the delivery world, which you all probably know if you've ever used Uber or Lyft. There's Uber Eats, and they could all deliver your food as well. So we said, man, this is like a really cool transition. How can we revolutionize the rideshare space? And so, Paul, ton of experience. Thanks for being here. I'd love for you to kind of go into what is Revo, why maybe has Revo chosen to jump into the blockchain space. Maybe we'll start with the first question. What is Revo?
So I'll tell you, it stands for revolution, and I going a little bit further back than my gold days, as I actually started in direct sales, and I've been in a lot of different things. But when I got into the gold business, I found a model, and I had a business mentor that always taught me if you find a big problem to a big solution to a big problem, you usually get a big paycheck. And so I saw that you could disrupt things. And so I found I'm not one to go out and recreate the wheel or anything like that, but I am a disruptor, which now you get paid for it. But when I was in school and with my parents who were missionaries, they did not like that word so much of me being disruptive. But I found a way to channel it the right way. And about 6 to 8 months ago, I was looking for a new project. One of our companies that my partner and I built had come, a really, really big company is kind of running on its own, and I get bored easily. So I was actually out here in Utah because Tony had asked me to come out and kind of see some of the blockchain projects, and I didn't know. After I sat through it, I still didn't know what we talked about. But I got in a car, and I was already starting to build this project out because I built a lot of apps, not me personally, but I've worked with developers and built apps and over the years. And so I had a ride that was at 5:30 in the morning in Utah from Sundance, and the driver I had to schedule it the night before. The driver had to get up when it was cold and snowy and everything else. Driver drove me an hour or so to the airport, 5:30 in the morning, and I was talking to the driver, and I said, let me ask you a question. Can you show me how much you're going to make on this ride? And they said, I'm only going to make $95. And I said, well, I just got charged $263. And so I was like, that's horrible. And so I started delving into it. And if you want to go to the next slide, I started asking drivers, like, what are some of the things that you deal with? Like earnings roller coaster. You and I could sit in a car right now, put the same exact app for one of these other companies and do the exact same ride, we get two different prices.
Interesting. And
so the drivers, I started talking to them, and I mean, they're hungry and looking for something different. And so I looked at the commission fees. The drivers are the ones that put the wear and tear on their car. They're the ones that are, if a driver doesn't work today and drive, they don't get paid. I know drivers that'll put in 10 to 13 hours a day. They're trying to manipulate the system and only take the best rides. And I saw all these things that you see on the screen that were just causing problems for them. And so I was like, listen, there's got to be a better way. And I saw that the company wasn't aligned with trying to take care of the people. When you talk about decentralization and people taking care, it all goes back to the bottom line of the dollar. Who's getting that dollar? If you have shareholders you have to answer to, like they don't care about the drivers, they don't care about the clients. So I put together a program that kind of gives it back to the field, gives it back to the driver, gives it back to the customers. We put a referral, kind of an affiliate program involved with it. And I wasn't, I'll let you talk about the blockchain stuff because I really don't know anything about it. But I started getting excited the more I found out about it because of the community driven and the way, the way things are structured. The more I find out about it, the more excited I am. But I'll go through real quickly and just kind of show you how our program works. There's two different aspects to our company. There's the driver and then the customer. What happens is on every single drive, there's a referral fee and there's a mileage fee. And I have a saying within our company, if you don't know anything else, and people ask me questions all the time and they want all these technical answers, and I say, listen, the biggest thing is every ride that happens, our clients will pay less, our drivers will make more, and every time a ride happens, someone will get a reward. And so I started looking at how I could make this really work. So the customer chooses either $5 per ride, or they can choose, if they ride a lot, and people, I mean, I don't know if you know this, but my parents are in their 70s. My parents do not use rideshare. If I come into town, I am their rideshare driver. So there's a group of people that will never use it, but the people that do use it usually use it 4 and 5 and 6 times a week. We have a lady in Palm Beach County where I'm from. We pick her up every morning and we drop her off every afternoon. And so I put something into effect where she could pay $30 a month. And instead of paying the $5 a ride, now she only pays that $30 once a month, and then the mileage fee on every ride, which makes it so that she saves more money. And so, or they can pay $250 a year and save $110 off of that monthly fee. Now, like I said, there's always a mileage fee that's charged on every ride. But now, instead of the driver only getting about 45 or 50% like they normally do, now they get to keep everything on that mileage fee, including the wait time, the ride surge, anything that goes into it. They get to keep everything but $1. And they have been so excited about that. But we're still able to make it cheaper than what they're doing with these other companies. And so, like on here, you know, we take 60 cents of every dollar that's brought in, and we pay it out to the field in the form of commissions and bonuses. And another thing we wanted to do is give drivers the opportunity to actually build their own business. Normally, when you get in a ride with one driver, you're never going to see that driver again. But if I'm a driver and I use a code, which I'll show you in a little bit, I can register people in the company, and because of technology and the way things are with QR codes and tracking, that driver is now tied to that customer for life, for as long as they do the business. Now, so the driver earns all of the mileage fee except for $1 that goes into the referral program. And if you want to go to the next screen, I'll show you kind of how it works. We believe in paying the people who actually do the business and refer our company. You know, it's a community driven, just like blockchain. Every time someone does a ride and that $5 is charged, if I use my phone and I have a QR code, I send it to Steve and he gets registered with us, and I pay the $5 per fee, he pays the $5 per fee, I get 20% of that, or $1 every time he does a ride. How many think I'm going to probably encourage him to use this a whole lot? But Freedom Pass, if they choose $30 a month, if Steven were to choose that and I'm the one that referred him, I make 20% of that $30, or I make $6 a month. If he chooses $250 a year and saves money on the monthly fee, I make 20% of that, so I make $50 annually. And now these aren't guaranteed. There's examples. I can't guarantee that you're going to ever recruit anyone. They're only based on production. But just real quickly, on this rider program, there's so many drivers that know other drivers. We have drivers that have already registered over 200 or 300 drivers. When I said that the driver only gets paid when they drive, this kind of alleviates some of that. So if I'm a driver and I don't know anything about Revo, and Steven brings me into the company, I start doing rides. The average driver does about 15 to 20 rides a day. So let's say they only do 10. If I'm a driver and he introduced me to the company, he's going to make 20 cents and I do 10 rides. That's $2 on what I did just for introducing me to the company. That makes a lot more sense than giving that to a shareholder or a company and somebody buy another jet or something of that nature. So I'll give you some real quick examples of how it works. The theoretical examples. Let's say it took me a year, but I introduced 1,000 clients in a year. And that they could be anywhere in the country and at some point globally. We're in the process of creating everything so that we can scale quickly. But let's say you had 1,000 clients in a month and you made $1 off of each one of those clients. Now, like I said, most clients that drive do way more than one ride in a month. So I'm trying to under-promise and over-deliver on this. But you'd make $1,000. And that's whether you don't have to be a driver. You don't have to be a rider. You could be someone that just refers people to the company on a monthly basis. Let's say you had 1,000 clients that did the $30 a month. You make $6,000. If you had 3,000 clients, let's say it took you 3 or 4 years, it took you to a point where we had to get global, but you made $50 off of 3,000 clients, it's $150,000 residual income. And that's what so many people talk about. And this isn't something I have to call my friend up and ask him to buy this every month. This is something that people are using on a monthly basis because they want to, not because they have to. And we have to be better than the rest. We have to be cheaper. Our technology has to be better. We have to go out and do everything better so that the community and the people that use our service want to, put it out there, because we're not spending $100 million on a Super Bowl advertisement. So I mean, that's kind of it. The last thing that I always talk about is Revo is the first and only rideshare program utilizing blockchain technology and an action-based reward system. Every time a ride is completed, our action-based reward system issues rewards in the form of tokens to Revo clients, drivers, and referral partners. And when we started this, I had no clue that this would ever be involved in blockchain. I didn't know what blockchain was. But what excites me the most is this was a standalone business that I was going to do, and I'd already put a lot of money into it. I just think with, combining with Connect and partnering up and being a part of the blockchain and the community, I think that the sky's the limit with what we can do.
I love that. And just, a couple things. Obviously, in Revo, there's revenue that's transpiring with all the rides that are happening. All of that is dispersed as kind of revenue that way. On the blockchain side, that is community driven, which I love. All of those rewards are being dispersed through the blockchain. That's run and operated by the community through the DGF, which I think is just fantastic. And so you've kind of got these two different worlds that are working together, again, building on top of the blockchain and using the blockchain, which is awesome. So a couple of things, I guess, that I'm wondering. Number one, where is Revo already? Like, where can people already start downloading the apps and using the Revo app, get rides? Where's
we are actively in New Orleans. Okay. We are actively in Palm Beach County and some surrounding areas. It's funny. I got a call from one of our drivers the other day, and he hits me on the phone and he goes, "You got to talk to these people." And I said, "What are you talking about?" He goes, "Well, they're associated with Connect, and they came down from Orlando just to test out the service and see if it actually worked." And I'm like, "Well, thank goodness it did." But it was awesome because we're in that area. We're in the process of, in the next 2 weeks, we're going to be opening in a lot more cities on a reservation basis. Then we're going to start scaling on a lot larger basis. So right now we're in Palm Beach County, New Orleans. We're going to be opening up Detroit, Las Vegas, Nashville, a lot of other places very quickly. And we can scale this because we don't have to have a ton of drivers in the beginning because we're going to use a reservation based. And we've got a lot of new things that the other companies don't have that we're excited about as well.
That's fantastic. And so obviously this is an idea that it's not brand new. This is an idea that's been going on for a while. You've been developing it, doing different things. You decided, man, this blockchain stuff is pretty cool. Let's get it on the blockchain. And so just to kind of go down that rabbit hole for just a minute for everybody that's here watching as well, you want to make sure that if this is something that appeals to you, if you thought about, well, and maybe let me take a step back real quick. Let's talk about the industry for just a moment. I want to paint this picture, help people understand where the opportunity lies, why they may want to participate, not just in obviously using Revo to take rides and to maybe even participate as a driver, but why they may want to support kind of the foundational elements of the blockchain that is being built, that Revo is being placed on. So let's talk about that. What is the industry? Do you know what, like,
stats?
Uber and Lyft, like, what are they worth?
I know. Well, I don't know what their worth
any
is,
ideas?
but I know that Uber does over 25 million rides a day.
Okay, wow.
I mean, I know that they have a salary, and this is some of the things we looked at, is like, we don't need to have all these people taking that money and salary in the company. Like, I know with one of the stats I read the other day is that Uber, and I just quoting what I heard, so it could be wrong. The internet never lies. But I saw that, they had 33,000 employees that make an average of $77,000. I mean, that's billions of dollars in salary. And so a lot of the money goes to that. But I think that they have such an infrastructure built that they don't know how to do it cheaper.
Sure.
Yeah, cheaper. Just came up with a new word. But
I like cheaper. No,
but they just don't know how to do it. And so they're massive companies, and they've added things on like delivery, which we already are proficient in with my partner, Tony Swantek. He actually built a huge company in that space, which we're going to be bringing over into this at some point. And there's so many avenues that we can, get. And I'll just tell you one of the things, I know that a lot of I had people that talk to me about it all the time. What happens when they have, driverless cars? Well, Uber will get rid of every one of those people. Right. Like, I promise you, the day they have it, so that's way to do driverless cars, every one of those drivers will be out. With us, I looked at that long term, and that's one of the reasons why we put it so drivers could get customers and have those customers, because even if you don't have the drivers, you still need customers. Because we would have to go to that technology too. But sure. I always want to be forward thinking in the fact that we want to look out for people. Because I look at a lot of these companies as technology companies that they have to deal with people. They don't want to, but they have to. Yeah. I look with what we're doing with what you were doing as well, is it's not just about, it's it's a people business, and technology is put there to help it, as opposed to that vice versa.
So I was looking, and hopefully I won't get the numbers so far off base, but I believe Uber is worth about $160 billion if I saw it right. I think Lyft is far below that. I think they're 7 or 8 billion or something like that.
Yeah, they're a little bit.
Yeah, and so, but that being said, I mean, guys, we're talking about a multi-billion-dollar industry that can be disrupted. And from your conversations that you were having with these Uber drivers, Lyft drivers, it sounds to me, and I've heard this not just from you, I've heard this from other people as well. They're not that satisfied. I mean, it's like it's the only option, so they use it, but it's not ideal. And I also keep hearing from people that fees are going up and more.
There's always algorithms built in to see how much more they can take from the drivers. I've seen things where the drivers get in, and when they're brand new, they get paid a lot more. Yeah. But as they're longer, the algorithm starts to get them down. So it's like the whole, boiling a frog.
Yeah.
You start heating it up a little bit, and
you're in that pot,
then you're
right?
cooked. Yeah. So we try to be cognizant of all those things. And I mean, before we ever even did one ride with the company, we'd already registered over 13,000 drivers. Just because of, the dissatisfaction, I can't talk today.
You're good.
But, not being satisfied with where they're at, being taken advantage of. And so I knew we were on the right track. And it's like, I get in a car, I was on the way to the airport here, and, recruited a driver within 5 minutes just by talking to them about what we do and how it's going to be. And they don't understand it all. But when I tell them, this little slogan, and I would encourage you to get this in your head, our clients pay less, our drivers make more, and every time somebody does a ride, someone gets a reward. Like, it's easy. And so that's what we make sure happens.
I love that. And then when you take that and you decentralize it, like that to me is where the true power is. It's like, the neat thing about this is drivers obviously could participate by driving. Maybe they would want to take a ride by another driver if they're traveling or doing other things as well. So they can kind of participate both sides there. But as a driver, you can also own and operate a node that supports the whole underlying foundation of the blockchain that this, again, application is built on top of. And so that to me is like one of the biggest opportunities. So for you out there, if you're hearing this, if you're understanding what we're talking about right now, this is the time to tune in, because being an owner and an operator of those nodes is going to be foundational. That's where you can earn the Rev reward, digital reward. That's where you can actually confirm the transactions that are happening on the blockchain. All of the activity that's going on in the Revo app that's being built on top of the blockchain. Again, that all has to be confirmed and verified, and all that information is going to be done. So all that's going to be happening on the blockchain. And so those of you that own and operate those nodes will receive the digital reward from all those different actions that are taking place. And that to me is super exciting. Again, instead of all of that revenue going to an Uber, that $160 billion of revenue going to Uber, those rewards get to be disseminated amongst all of those who own and operate nodes. And Paul, you own and operate nodes. Anybody here in the community has an opportunity like Paul to own and operate the exact same nodes in the exact same way. And so that's super exciting. Like, this to me, blockchain is opening up a door to allow this massive shift, right? Where we see the problem, we think that maybe there's a solution, and instead of us relying on a government or a big company to provide and offer up everything around that solution, we get to participate, right? I get to participate as part of that solution, as either a driver, as a node owner, as a participant. Like, all of those things have to kind of come together, but we can participate at whatever level we feel is best for us. And that's one of the things that I love about it. So.
Knowing like the limited amount I do is like, one thing that excites me is that I've seen companies get ruined by people that run them, and having the community and having things driven by votes and things like that, I think is amazing, because it helps. You get good ideas from anywhere. We get great ideas from drivers. I mean, at the end of the call today, we're going to ask for, feedback from people, because, I mean, some of the ideas that I've gotten from people that were drivers that were never heard before, it's amazing. And so, and I know that's one of the reasons why I'm out here is this week, because we're launching the blockchain this week. And then, I would encourage you, if you are going to get a node, probably do it pretty quickly because I know they've been holding off on doing things, but I think they're going to be raising the prices on those.
Yeah, that is, and based on the normal algorithm, they've been kind of artificially held back, I guess, or held down as this is kind of as this pre-launch phase, or however you want to say it. So now is the time, and if you want to get in, and if you want to own and operate a node. I think they're $2,500 right now. $2,500 right now. I don't know exactly where that's going to go to, but based on what I've seen and how many nodes have already been sold, the price goes up $100 per 100 nodes sold, right? And so if if what I've seen is accurate, and we'll see because it's all going to shake out, once we get the final numbers. But the price of the node is probably going to go up anywhere from $500 to $1,000, maybe even more, depending on how many sales come through up until that
on the 10th
point,
is the
which
day.
is the 10th, I believe, right? So we're only a couple days away. So this is timely. Those of you that are on the call, if you don't have a node yet for Revolution, if you don't have the Revolution node yet, then make sure that you jump into your Connect platform, get into your back office, click on Buy Nodes, grab your node, and get it at the cheapest price that it's ever going to be, because they are going up here after the 10th. So let me just kind of go to the community. I know, unless there's anything else.
Do you want me to show the
little
demonstration real quick?
That's actually great. Thank you. We're going to go through and do a quick demonstration here of the Revo app. Let's just get everything kind of chimed in. Here we go.
So yeah, we were talking earlier, and I think sometimes people don't know if it's really real, but I wanted to kind of go through the process. If you're wanting to register people here in the U.S., and I'm not sure about the rest of the world, I think my developer said the app is available, but we're not, able to do anything yet. But I'll just show you real quickly with our app how it works. I mean, it looks really cool. It works just like the other apps, but one of the greatest things that we have in here is our referral program. I could go through and show you exactly how you call a ride, all those type of things. And we're doing updates and adding things to it on a daily basis. And some of your ideas may be incorporated into it. But we have an affiliate portal that if you look at right here, this gives it so that everyone will have their own referral code, and you can track everything. Like I could copy it right there. I can get my own QR code. And what happens then is I send this out to someone. Once I do, hold on one second. Sorry about that. It pulls up, has my referral information in there. And I would tell you this, when you do this, there's a certain process. We don't own Apple and we don't own Android, and so they won't let us embed our codes in there yet. But once you do this, you'll fill out your information here. Then you'll have to verify your email. Once you've verified your email, then you go down and download the app, and you'll have to put the information in again into the app, but then it links everything up. And now in your back office, you're going to be able to track. I can go in here in my network. I can go in here and see how much money I've made, there's 13,000 people in my network. I can go in here and see the direct referrals. It'll pull up in a minute. Just a little bit of a lag behind because of the internet. But I can go in here. I can get merchandise. There's marketing tools. Our whole complete pay plan is in here. Everything you can do, run your business wise from our back office within the app. I mean, there's a whole thing. So, I mean, it's exciting. We're adding new things onto it. There's training, there's merchandise. You can get Revo wear just like I have on. You can change your settings, all kinds of different things. But I mean, we have the driver app, the customer app, and it's just exciting to watch a company go from an idea to already being able to do rides, and we're just getting started.
I love that. So let's go ahead and go in. I've got a lot of questions coming here from the community right now. Wanted to, and a lot of them are very similar. People want to know, how do we expand into certain areas? I've got someone saying, how do we expand into Australia? We have someone here that said, how do I expand into North Carolina? And so for anyone that wants to, or Switzerland, I've got a few different people obviously chiming in New York. So wherever they are around the world,
right.
You talked a little bit briefly about kind of that referral program expansion, how it's going to happen. How do they?
If you're looking to open an area for RideShare,
yeah.
Send us an email, support@revo revo-ride.com, and we will get you the information. We have to do it in a systematic fashion. You can't just throw it all out there because every municipality, every city, sometimes state, they have different rules, regulations, picking up from the airport. And we have a whole staff that is working on that. And so what we do is we kind of see how many drivers are in the area, how many customers, and we can open it on a smaller level. In the beginning, we were doing it where we tried to open a whole city, and then drivers were used to doing it a certain way if they didn't get rides. But we're instituting some things that are really cool. And so what I would encourage you to do to get more information is, we do training videos. I have a lot of stuff in our back office. But if you want to get more information, send an email into support@revo-ride.com, and they will get you that information. They'll find out where you are. We're going to perfect everything in the U.S., but once we get everything rolling here, we can expand very, very quickly. And a lot of it has to do with, being able to go international in a very short amount of time because not having to deal with currency rules and things of that nature. So we're going to go fast once it hits. We're just getting everything started right now.
I love that. And then just to add to that, even though it's not yet outside of the U.S. and we're just expanding here in the U.S. for starters, obviously very quickly it's going to move out into countries all over the world. But you can, regardless of that, wherever you live, own and operate a node right now.
Absolutely.
Right. And so jump in and get those nodes.
And I know they were telling me that distribution starts on the rewards on the 29th of this month.
Starting soon. Yeah. So tentatively on the 29th of the month. So again, if you don't have your node, this is the perfect time to get it. The first year of distribution is always when most rewards are distributed. Or I should say half of the rewards are distributed in that first year. So again, great time to get in, get a node and get started. Just a couple follow-up questions. Again, person from Australia. Let's see here.
I will personally come open Australia.
You're going to personally. That's right. That's right. So plan to expand Australia. If so, which year are you targeting? I don't know if we're not there.
I mean, we don't have a set time frame.
Correct.
Like once we're ready and we'll be able to scale here in the U.S., we'll be opening everywhere else as quickly as we possibly can because once our system is down,
Yep.
It's very duplicatable anywhere.
And then they said, of course, being in Australia, they have a sign-up link from a friend. Can they sign up for both rider and driver now? I'm guessing
they can sign up for it, but what'll happen is once you download the app as a driver, if we're not in your area, you're going to get a little red thing that says waiting for admin approval. Once we get ready to open your area, then we got to do the background check and the different things that go along with that. So until you see that little red go away, we're not open, but you can download it for sure.
Okay, so would you recommend then to people that they go ahead and do that?
Yeah,
Sign up
absolutely.
if they want to. That way they're in the kind of the waiting list.
Yeah, they're in the system, and you can, if you're wanting to, I would tell people, if you're going to be a driver, I would say both, driver and customer, because you're going to use the service at some point on both. And, but if you're just going to be a customer, you can just do that, and you can still refer drivers because they choose. Once you use your link that goes out, they choose what they want to be.
So I think you just answered this, but just to make sure, after signed up, can I share my referral link with friends in Australia as well as US? Then I can get rewards?
As a node owner, yes. Once we do rides, yes. If they're doing rides here, the rewards will come from that.
So, for example, if that person in Australia referred somebody in
the US.
in New Orleans right now,
absolutely.
that's totally open and operating,
yes, absolutely.
then they would start getting rewards, even though they're not currently operating as
absolutely.
a driver. Okay,
100%.
Perfect. Let's see here. I want to make sure I don't miss anything. Riders pay less, drivers get paid more. How does that work?
It's just an algorithm. Like we have it set up to where we know that how much the other companies charge. We make sure that we're, we try to be 10 to 15% less than what the other companies are charging, and we pay our drivers 25 to 30% more than what they're making.
Yeah.
And it's all based on smart people stuff that I don't know. I actually have my developer that's flying out here right now to meet with, some of the other smart people that are in this area to make it even better. So, we just make sure that we're less than what they pay, and we pay out most of it. We pay out 60% of every dollar that comes in back out to the field.
And let me maybe one step into that as well. When you go from a centralized company getting all of the profits to a decentralized concept where those are now distributed amongst both the people that are using as well as the people that are operating, that's how you do it. I mean,
because of the community, we don't have to have hundreds of millions of dollars in servers, things of that nature.
I love that. Let's see. Regardless of pre-book rides or on-spot booking rides, do you show all the necessary trip info up front? Name of the passenger, rating, pickup, drop-off locations, how much drivers make, because in some countries and cities, Uber does not disclose any info up front except star rating and approximately how far the pickup location.
Yeah, we're still a startup, and
Sure.
so we're still tweaking some of the things. I mean, it was funny. We had some when we were first starting it. We were trying to be so much lower. We were over half lower than what the other companies were charging. So the drivers would look at it and go, "All right, even though they're charging way less, I'm making more with Uber than I was here." So it's all a give and take, and we had to figure things out. And I mean, we're in the process of bringing in data scientists and people that they'll probably never let me talk to because they're way too smart. But the people to make sure that all that stuff is, we want to be as transparent as possible.
Yeah.
Just like what they do in the blockchain, we want everything to be transparent. We want drivers to know what they're going to make up front, and we want to make so they're making more. Drivers in other companies have figured out their own algorithms to where they won't take a ride if it's a certain amount. And this is why some of these companies don't show that. But if we know that our community of drivers is getting paid more and they understand it's not about just taking one ride that the most rides I'm going to make the most money off of, as opposed to giving the best service. We have a system we're working on right now that, and I love this more than almost anything we're going to institute, is if I've gotten in a car with drivers and they're the best driver ever, but I don't really know how to get that driver again. In Miami, if I get into a car, 9 times out of 10, the driver is going to give me their own personal card and try to get me to go around Uber or Lyft or these other companies, and they'll charge me less. And I was like, Uber and Lyft have now become marketing companies, a marketing company for these private drivers. And I said, if we made it so the drivers were getting taken care of fairly, and so now we have it built in. It's not in there yet. We're in probably our next update. But if I get in a car and one of my 5 preferred drivers that I picked is in my area, I can pick that driver. So now that driver is actually getting to build their own business, and it makes it so the other drivers want to do better. And you can build your own clientele. And if I knew that I was going to get up at 7 in the morning and drive till 10 a.m., and I had drive after drive after drive, and then same thing in the evening, I could actually build my business around my life instead of my life around my business.
I love that. And that really dives in, Paul, to this proof of action concept where literally those that are doing the best work are going to be rewarded the most, right? That's what we want. Right. I think, so often in organizations and different projects, you got, I don't know, quotas in there and everyone feels entitled to things. But man, when you step into blockchain world, it's all about action. Like, are you doing those purpose-driven actions?
Higher rating you get, maybe the more rewards you get, things. And a lot of the ideas we've already talked about, it will come from the community, giving us ideas to, reward people like that.
Oh, I love that. How do you fight against all the bullies and legal tactics from all the different directions to destroy you from Uber, other places?
I mean, I've been through 2 divorces, so they don't scare me. I'm just kidding.
They can't touch you.
No, they're not. They don't make me afraid. Listen, if you're doing the right thing, everything in life comes from people.
Yeah.
If you've got hundreds of millions of people or thousands of people at some point that believe in what we're doing, understand that we're doing the right thing, and we do the right thing, I'm not worried about that at all.
That's a good answer. And I think you already covered this, but just maybe to review, which cities is Rev currently started in?
New Orleans, we're open in.
Okay.
We're open in Palm Beach County and the surrounding areas, somewhat down in Miami. And those are really 2 areas that we focused on to begin with: Jupiter, Florida, Palm Beach Gardens, Florida, West Palm Beach. And then we're in the next 2 weeks, we should be ready to roll out about 10 more cities.
Okay.
And then we'll keep going every week from there.
Okay. And then someone said, when are we able to host the Rev nodes? I'm guessing that won't happen until distribution is starting.
That part, I don't know anything
that's
about.
That's okay, but you mentioned the distribution starting.
I know they said they're doing it the 29th.
On the 29th of this month, right? And so keep that tentatively now. Sometimes that can get pushed back or changed a little bit, but information will go out. If you are a current node owner, you will be updated and you will get information as to when you should start running your node. You don't necessarily obviously need to run it and start it beforehand. But they will let you know exactly when the distribution is going to start, so you can get your node on and operating. Great question here. Let's see here. Oh, does Rev have any socials? Now, I know that for right now, I would recommend that anybody that wants to stay up to date in terms of like the Discords and everything like that, come into the Connect Discord if you're not already part of that. We will be adding a Revo section there here soon. I know that it's being worked on, but if you're not already in, get in the Connect community, ask your questions there. We'll get answers. We're coordinating back and forth a lot, and so let us know. We'll help you there. But as soon as more of that comes, are there?
We do have a private. We have
go
a
ahead.
private Revo RideShare page, and it's really kind of a hodgepodge. It's drivers and customers and people that.
Is it a Facebook page? Or
yeah, it's a Facebook, and we're working on the others. But like you said, we're working in conjunction with your team to kind of get that all together.
Got it. Okay. Yeah, I'm getting other questions that kind of touch on what we already talked about in terms of timeframes for coming into Europe or other places. And again, it sounds like if you are in Europe and you want to drive it in Europe, start referring a whole bunch of people in Europe to get on it.
Yeah, it's all done by numbers,
yeah.
you know.
So the more you grow in your specific area, I mean, let's just say that you're in Germany, one of the countries I love many countries in Europe, but I spent a lot of time in Germany. If I wanted to really start it in Germany, I would go out to all of my Uber and or Lyft friends probably right now that are in Germany, tell them to sign up with me, right? They would then sign up, and I don't know what the numbers are, but once we, I think, amass a certain number, we'd be like, wow.
Yeah, and as we grow, I mean, like we're going to be able to do it like 10 to 15 drivers here in the U.S. on a reservation basis. We'll start it. And so I'm sure that once we get that perfected, we'll be able to go international pretty quickly on that type of a system. So there's not an exact number that we have, and I know some people that want that. I need to know an exact number. We don't have an exact number, but over the next month or so, we'll probably come up with a more structured, amount.
Awesome. Someone said, where do we get the link? So currently, if they're not,
I mean, I could put my link up, but I mean, what you want to do is make sure if you have someone that's already working within our company, make sure that you get a link with them.
Yeah.
If you have somebody that's, involved and you're working with them, have them contact us. We'll walk them through getting their own link and then they can give it to you. We want to make sure people get credit. We want to make sure that you're working with people. But there will be people that, some people come to me and they go, well, what if somebody goes directly to the app and downloads the app? Well, I can't really tell where they come from then. That's why I was telling you need to use the link, and then you need to have them verify the link, and then you need to download the app. We're working on ways to embed it, but we're never going to be able to have it so you don't have to do two steps, because we don't own Apple, we don't own Google. Yeah. Maybe someday the community will come up with its own app program for phones. But that right now, just, get with the person who invited you on, find out if there's someone involved. If not, we can help you out.
So someone said, I don't own a car today, so the app does not allow me to open for sharing on phone. Are there any options? And maybe I'm not understanding that correctly, but does that make any sense?
You don't have to have a car to be able to share the app.
Or even to say you want to be a driver? Or...
Well, I mean... No, you could say you want to be a driver. I mean,
even if you don't have a car,
you could say it, but we won't ever be able to verify you as a driver because you won't have your insurance, you won't have your stuff.
Sure.
But you still can download the apps.
Yeah. Okay. Let's see here. Do we benefit when a downline teammate buys a node, and how would that work? Yes, thank you. So great question. You'd have to be part of Connect, right? So everyone, by the way, that's here should be part of Connect. And if you're not, make sure you get a link from someone who invited you here. Even if you're here and you want solely to work on, selling Revo and getting people involved with the Revolution blockchain, if that's like your sole focus, all of that happens in and through Connect and the Win blockchain. So you want to be rewarded for those referrals and the node sales. Make sure you have that account also. And again, because Connect deals with a variety of different projects, you're going to have your Connect account as well as all of your other accounts, Revo included and others as well. So if you don't already, that's what I would recommend. If you're going to be sharing and selling the nodes also, do all that through Connect. And eventually we're going to have the app and other products from Revo also in the Connect marketplace. And so that's on the roadmap.
On the one thing you're talking about with the people are asking about bullies and the companies coming after you. One of the reasons why I love what we do is there's, having Blockade, having, an amazing legal team that keeps you out of trouble, but also shows you the way to go and to expand the right way.
Awesome. Friends, we have a ton more questions, and we can't cover everything today. We're out of time for this particular webinar, but I wanted to, first of all, thank Paul. Thank you so much for being here with us and being willing to talk to the Connect community. Amazing information. The Revo app and the Revolution blockchain, everything that's being launched right now is just a tremendous opportunity as I see it, giving people all around the world the opportunity to participate finally in a true decentralized rideshare program where you can participate at any level that you want to. Any final words from you to kind of encourage individuals to jump in and participate?
I've been involved in businesses that have become billion-dollar companies, and I've never been as excited as I am about one. Like, money at this point is not as exciting to me as about doing the right thing for people. And I just think with the community-driven projects, with the drivers and everything else, and having our slogan, which I always try to end everything I talk with it, is like every time someone does a ride, a client pays less, a driver makes more, and someone gets a reward. And what could be better than that?
I love that. Friends, thank you so much for joining us today. Again, this has been the Connect Community Call with Revo, Paul, Mikel. Thanks for being with us. Thank you all for jumping on. If this is, again, your first time or your 100th time, we want to see you back. Come join us for the next one. And with that, have a fantastic day. Keep blockchaining.